Hi guys, Dave Waring here again with digitalbrainbase.com, and today I've got what I hope is a special treat. One of the more common questions that we get when talking about Open WebUI is how Open WebUI's pipelines, tools, functions, etc. work and what the differences are between those things. So I asked one of our developers, Beck, to put together a presentation on this. I'm not going to bore you by just reading out what's on the slides, but I will just quickly run you through what we have. I'll link to this slide deck in the description section of the video. And then I have a recording of the call where Beck walked me through the presentation, which I'm going to include also the full recording of that call for anyone who wants a deep dive on this. So as you can see, he talks about tools, functions, the filter function, the action function, pipes and manifolds, and gives a grid on deciding which piece of the software to use for what purpose. So that's all here in this slide deck, which I'll link to in the description section for you. And now on to the recording of the call.
Okay, so first of all, Open WebUI has tools, functions, pipelines. And functions also divided into several types. They have filters, they have actions, and they have just pipes. And pipelines also divided into several types. They have filter pipelines, they call it pipelines, and they have manifold pipelines. So as you can see, there is a lot of different types and functions, functionalities to extend the functionality of this Open WebUI. But first, it's before pipelines, they had only tools and functions. Tools, it's very simple to understand. The use case, you extending the LLM, the large language model, not Open WebUI, not anything else. You're just giving your, if you're using, for example, OpenAI, you will add more actions to this LLM itself. Like it can do browsing, it can call third-party providers, maybe it can fetch events from your calendar. The basic idea here is you're extending the LLM and not Open WebUI itself.
Okay, I got it. That makes sense to me. It's allowing the LLM to do things basically,
Yes.
off the platform essentially.
And so then second type, it's functions. Now functions, you are extending the Open WebUI itself, not the AIs and any other providers. You are extending functionality of Open WebUI. Well, functions, they have 4 different types. I found from their documentation, from their GitHub repos, and what others are doing as an examples and building. They have filter functions, action functions, pipe, and manifold. Yes, these two, pipe and manifold, were before when they introduced pipelines. Anyway, this is also possible to do in Open WebUI interface. So filter, it's very easy to understand. Filter function, it's you basically can manipulate your messages before they go to the LLM. And also when the LLM generates some output before it's presented to the user, you can also do some additional manipulation. So it works both ways. And the use cases for that, it's for rate limiting, like you can control the rate limiting. Maybe you as an admin in Open WebUI, you want to decide that certain users, you can allow them to post maybe 5 messages per day to any LLM provider. Another use case is for translation, filtering, removing some bad language. And this is for the user input. For LLM, you can like add additional steps for fact checking, for example, whether this output is valid, true or false. So this is filter functions. And as I said, now this is extending the functionality of Open WebUI. Second, it's action function. And action function.
Just one question on the filter function. For example, if I wanted to strip any personally identifiable information out of a message that's going, for a corporate system or something, I could put a filter in that's designed to do that, correct?
Yes. You can basically strip or maybe if you know this masking technique, like you can mask your replace your names, passport details, your cards, or any like dates, phone numbers, any personal information. You can do this stuff. Like it's here.
Great. Really cool.
So second type of function is action. Action is basically you're extending the UI interface. This is the like the small icons that you see below every message in Open WebUI. It's here, like edit, copy, pick, I think, thumbs up and down, and regenerate. You can extend this functionality by adding your custom actions here. And I think this will be useful. Like if you're having this tool, if you build the tool and maybe you are every day going to your uh, LLM and asking it you build a tool to fetch events from your Google Calendar, and you manually go every day, like when you just wake up, you go to your Open WebUI interface and ask it manually typing or speaking to it, saying, giving command, please fetch my events from my calendar. Because this action, like these words, this prompt will be triggered, LLM will decide to query and use this tool. But instead of doing this, you can wrap this action as this functionality as an action button. Instead of saying it, it can be always here. Instead of saying, you can just click and it will trigger this flow. I think the use case here, it's like if you're having like doing certain actions very often, you need this always have an like very easy to use instead of just typing and saying. That's the like you can convert this functionality into action.
If I build an action, is it going to show up on every single chat across every single model? Or if I have like one window where it's just like my calendar stuff, like it's going to be everywhere?
It's going to be at below every message.
Got it.
Good. So then next we have these pipes and manifolds. And from here, they kind of transition to, I guess they transition to Open WebUI pipelines. First, they introduce pipes and manifolds within Open WebUI environment. It's not like separate project or container, Docker container. So pipes and manifolds. Introduce pipes, build like custom model, single modules, custom models. For example, you can build model that's designed to like your personal assistant model, or you can build a collection of these pipes, like integrating third-party providers, AI providers from like Anthropic, Gemini. No, sorry, not Gemini, like Anthropic, who supports same interface as OpenAI interface. But then the limitations of this using pipes and manifolds within Open WebUI interface, because we are limited to libraries or packages, Python libraries or packages that Open WebUI has. If Open WebUI uses, for example, LangChain, then I can build something on top of LangChain. But if my logic or custom coding depends on some another Python library, which Open WebUI does not use, so then it's not possible for me to implement this. That's where they introduce, I guess, pipelines. So there's two use cases when you can use functions within Open WebUI, when you need to use something in the pipeline environment. Use
Okay.
cases.
Give me this is great, by the way. Love this. So give me the one sentence definition of a pipe again.
Okay. Pipe, so you can create your single module. And model, I mean like AI agent, specialized LLM. You can create specialized LLM, which is going to be your personal assistant, or it can be your health assistant, or I don't know, your mental health assistant, or Upwork writer, content writer. It's like specialized module. You know how you create the module in Open WebUI, right?
Yeah,
You
so
can
I go into the create a model, put the system prompt in, upload the knowledge base, set all the things. That's a pipe or no?
the pipe. Yes, underneath that's the pipe. But you can also create this by creating this custom coding file. Like you upload the type in
So
Python
yeah, I
coding.
think I understand now. So the interface on Open Web UI is essentially like a WYSIWYG website builder for these pipes, right? You can go in and code these pipes up yourself if you want. But there's a non-developer interface that allows you to do the same thing effectively.
But this is only one use case they are giving. Like with UI, you can build this custom module, custom model. Yes, you can add additional tools. Yes, you can add additional databases, but then you're limited only to these three like features, additional features that you can do. With when you do like if you want to build more sophisticated, more advanced, something that's OpenWebUI doesn't provide interface, then you will have to switch to these pipes or manifolds. I mean, with coding, of course.
Okay, what's the difference? Okay, so a pipe, it allows me, it basically gives me the coding access to what I'm doing with Open Web UI when I'm creating a custom model with their interface, right?
Actually, I do you see this now? I'm in Dave's Digital Brain.
Yeah.
So here you have, when you switch to workspace, you have two models, right? One WordPress and I don't know, VP Engine, Debate
Yeah,
Analyzer. This is your custom module.
correct.
I go into this module, I will see that it has some custom system prompt. You don't have to specify this every time, like to remind this model, okay, I'm doing this, this is my goal, this is what you should do. Then you're using also custom knowledge. This is your custom RAG pipeline, right? Custom data. You
Yep.
don't have tools, anything yet. You don't have filters, actions, all this stuff. But this bot, this agent designed to do these things, specifically designed for WordPress and BP Engine Debate Analyzer. What if you need to build some more advanced search, like retrieval search? You can do this here, right? Like because here with this interface, you will rely on whatever Open Web UI has built and provided search function. But what if you need to build more advanced, like you have your own steps of how you want to validate the data? Maybe the relevance score is from 0 to 1. You don't know which score they use to filter the rest, which are unrelevant documents. So you want your own custom logic, you want to make it more advanced. You cannot do it with this interface. What you should do, you will go into here, the tools. Of course, you will develop this maybe in your web editor, not a code editor, and then you will paste it here. But this is basically how you will do it. Like you will create custom coding, put it here.
And that's a pipe.
That's a pipe. It's going to be, when you specify this as a pipe, it will be available here
Yep.
as like with any other custom model.
Yeah, so it is how I'm thinking about it relation to a website builder, right? The Open Web UI interface is like a Wix or a Weebly or one of these drag and drop builders, and it creates a pipe for you, but you're limited by the interface in terms of what you can do. The pipe allows you to go into the code and actually write whatever you want to show up in that models drop down.
Yes.
Beautiful.
So now,
And he's really built a great system here, right? I mean, that's cool, you know?
yes. Then what's the difference between pipes and manifolds? Manifolds, it's like with pipes, you can create single model. Like here, you will create WordPress and VP Engine. The difference is with manifold, you can create multiple pipes in one file. Like you can create WordPress with Engine. Maybe they all share same logic somewhere, but some of these models has different system prompt. You can create them all in one file. And then once you create manifold, instead of one, you will see 3, 4, depends on how many pipes within this manifold class or code that you specified. You will see them here. It's multiple pipes in one file.
Okay, so for example, right now when I put in the Amish just recently did a video on adding the Claude models to Open WebUI. And so that's basically sort of a similar type example where once we did that, it put all the models in, not just one, because they're probably all part of one file or one API or whatever.
Yes, that's the manifold. That's the manifold. You integrate with other LLM providers.
Beautiful. But basically the big difference is pipes are one thing and then the manifold is a group of these things.
They're like when you look at the coding, they are almost the same. So the difference is pipe is single, manifold is collection of these pipes, multiple pipes in one file.
And why would I want to use a manifold, which is a collection?
As I said, you can create multiple pipes. Okay, let's say if I'm building some LinkedIn, something related to LinkedIn, and I have a lot of features that I want to use with LinkedIn. I want to one feature which will be posting from my name. The other feature will be which will be fetching some posts from my LinkedIn profile. And I don't want to build this all in one place. I want to have separate models or agents for that. I want to have one LinkedIn poster, another LinkedIn analyzer, another LinkedIn post, something, I don't know, feature or maybe friend request replies, something like that. This, when I start building this, like 3 separate agents, at the beginning, they will all share same logic. Like I'll have to provide some integration with their API, make some requests to make sure that I'm authenticated. They all have the same process at the beginning.
Say that one more time just for me I think most people that are watching this, as developers will probably understand this, so dumb it down one more level for me, please.
Okay, for example, when we integrate some third-party API, like for example, let's say I'm integrating OpenAI API. How like uh, I'll have to authenticate my request with this API key. Every user has different API key, and even you as an admin of your OpenAI, you can create multiple API keys for the same account that you have, and maybe you will use them in different projects. Same with LinkedIn. LinkedIn, they have their API interface that you can access with your by sending these requests to their endpoints together with LinkedIn API key that they will give you. Like if you are generating for your account, you'll have your API key, I will have my API key. Everyone has different API keys. So the idea here, you will send this request together with your API key. And if I'm building something that requires me to send requests to LinkedIn API, get some information or post something to my account, first step for me is to authenticate these requests. I will initiate this connection between my Open WebUI or between this class or pipe or manifold and LinkedIn API. I will initiate this connection to make sure to let them know that I will be sending now request. I'm authenticated user. Please accept my request. All these 3 files, like 3 features or agents that I mentioned earlier. Let's say 2. One, it's LinkedIn Post Analyzer, and the other one is LinkedIn Post Generator and Publisher. 2 different agents, but they all at the beginning share same logic, like initiating this connection to LinkedIn API. Can put this all in one manifold, like one function which will initiate this connection.
Okay, I understand now. It just makes the programming of all that easier because you can like interact with one file and do multiple things instead of having to write the same thing over and over again for a bunch of different pipes.
It's really not when I think why this is confusing for a lot of people, because it's like the boundaries between these pipes, functions, actions, types, and manifolds. It's not very strict. Like whatever I'm describing now with manifold, it's possible to do this in pipe. It's a little just more harder, but it's basically possible to do this with in pipes. And whatever I'm like describing here, what's this? In filter, I can also do this in what's this? This pipes too. So the logic of filter is available in pipes and in manifolds. That's why it's confusing. So a lot of functionalities there. Maybe in the future they will be more strict between the use cases of each, but now it's it's not very strict.
It's an
That's
early, I mean, he's still in the early development of the software, and it sounds like they're still figuring out a lot of this stuff. And the ethos right now, it feels like, is like, let's give people a lot of different options and ways to do things and see what people use, which to me is the right way to think about it.
so now what we described, what we discussed so far, it's all running all these different types of functions, pipes, manifolds, filters, actions within Open WebUI environment. It's all running within Open WebUI environment, even these pipes and manifolds. I guess after when they introduce these pipes and manifolds, they know, like maybe they were building this earlier, but Open WebUI pipelines basically they took these pipes and manifolds features and they made it a little more advanced. And pipelines are running on separate container. As if you remember, when you want to integrate pipelines, you have to deploy another container, another Docker container, and then you will come here into connection, and this is you will like configure, add one another connection for your pipelines, correct?
Yeah.
And that means it's your pipelines are running on a separate, like you can call server, on a separate instance. In your case, it's running all in one, but in reality, you can think there are two separate containers. Well, what this gives? This gives, it means like you potentially can offload some heavy computational like processing pipelines. So instead of it running here in your OpenWebUI instance, if you're creating pipelines, like let's say you have very complex logic or very heavy large language model you are running or making requests from from this pipe, and instead of doing it in OpenWebUI interface, you're creating pipeline, and it will offload this processing into another instance. In this case, OpenWebUI pipeline instance.
And this would allow me to access this pipeline through other software as well, right? Without having to use the Open WebUI interface, or no?
Like yes, but you will have to follow this their API protocol of this pipeline.
So why separate it out, I guess? Like why what's the purpose, do you think, of separating it out?
Okay, for me the most useful is two things. First, when you're building something within OpenWebUI interface, even these pipes and manifolds or functions, you're limited to packages, I mean Python packages that OpenWebUI is using. And for example, I know OpenWebUI is using LangChain, which is very popular Python or TypeScript AI framework. Let's say if OpenWebUI haven't used this in their like in their project, means I wouldn't be able to build this function or tool uh, that uses the LangChain functionality. For me to be able to implement something with LangChain, I'll have to do it in pipeline
So
because in
it kind
pipeline,
of frees you from the coding world of Open WebUI and opens up a broader world to you of what you can do and not be constrained by the other parts of Open WebUI? Would that be a way to verbalize it or no?
Not yes, but it's most like it's very specific use case. Okay, let's say, where is this? Let me share this to see now my editor. We'll open this chat with YouTube pipeline.
I can't see it. I'm just still looking at the settings on my digital brain.
Sorry. Okay, let me. What now? What now?
Yes.
Okay, so this is chat with YouTube pipeline that we built, I think, a few weeks ago. So I know this is related to coding, but I will try to explain this to you. You see, first here at the beginning of this file, we are importing something. So you can see here the syntax import, import, import. And this is just another way of doing this. Again, we are importing something from this typing package. We're importing something that we need to use in our pipeline. In our case, we imported this LangChain, OpenAI, LangChain agents, prompts, and tools, because that's what we needed to build this tool. Down below here, you can also see that we imported this YouTube search Python library. If I haven't imported this, it means I will implement this YouTube search functionality myself from scratch. Well, I do that when there is already available package and it's maintained by some and like a lot of contributors. And we can just import them and save the time, the development time. That's what I'm doing here. This YouTube search package is not available in Open WebUI interface because Open WebUI doesn't use this package.
I see.
For me, it wouldn't be possible to build this in Open WebUI. That's
I
why I'm
see.
doing pipeline.
Yeah, I mean, it opens up a broader world of what you can do with the developer community and the open source community on Open WebUI.
Yes, and it's good for Open WebUI because otherwise, otherwise he will have a lot of like requests. Please add this Python package to your dependency so we can build these pipelines. And it would be impossible because every developer uses a lot of different packages. That's why pipelines are very good for that.
Great. That's really
This
cool.
first case. Second use case, as I said, uh, this is not very heavy, computational heavy processing. But if you have, for example, heavy computational processing can be if you have your database and your database has made more than 1,000 rows of data, and you have use case that you will need to run this every day, something like query your database, go row by row for your in your database, do some research, and then put something back in your database. Like this custom workflow, it's very computational here because you're reading 1,000 rows from your database. And then for each row, you are also doing some additional actions like maybe calling some third API or doing some web search to find something about your data in your database and writing something back in your database. This will take a lot of resources to run. If you are doing this daily or maybe twice a day, depends on the use case. It means that your Open WebUI instance will use a lot of resources just because you're running this. And what if someone else also is using this Open WebUI? Like in your case, you deploy this, and maybe you can invite 10, 20 users. If they're using this at the same time as if I'm running this custom workflow, potentially it means it will slow down for everybody. What you can do, you can offload this computational workflow into pipeline. And because pipeline are running on their own instance, not on the same instance. It's
Yeah,
the
and you can
second.
host that somewhere else or different resources or blah blah blah.
Yes. So that's the tool from what I found, and I think this is the most useful like features of these pipelines.
Beautiful. Love it.
I also put this like table, like decision tree table. Like if you have your requirement, then use this because this. If you need like extend your UI, then use actions.
New providers or external APIs, functions. Wow, this is cool, man. Love it.